This is KATU TV Channel 2, Portland, Oregon. And it is time now for the KATU Morning News for this Friday morning, March 18th, 1966. Good morning, everybody. I'm Peter Wiggins here. Your news headlines here. Top at 7 in the morning time is in Naha, Okinawa, where astronauts Neil Armstrong and Dave Scott Sprite and Spellman came back to land Friday after their space mission that turned into a misadventure and emergency splashdown in the Western Pacific as they passed their first physical examination and 2.5 hours later flew off to Cape Kennedy, Florida. A fellow astronaut said they were seasick on Thursday while their capsule floated in the sea, waited to be picked up, but they showed no ill effects as they stepped ashore, here to the cheers of U.S. servicemen and some sequels from the service wives. The Gemini 8 astronauts had a busy time, but this Bastianini left 400 miles off the Red China coast before taking off of the C-135 jet transport to complete in a relatively slow motion their seventh circlet of the Earth. The spaceflight had been interrupted after 6.5 orbits when they were reported they were tumbled overhead after they had made a historic link-up with a Jetta. Target shipment was the first time two spacecraft had been linked together in space. In Washington, more than 2,000 American fighting men had been killed in combat in Vietnam, and nearly 10,000 wounded since President Johnson ordered U.S. grab units to the war on a big scale last midsummer. Almost half of the slain had fallen, and more than half the wounded had been given to be hit in the first 10 weeks of this year. A report Thursday of Vietnam casualties of the week ended last Saturday showed more than U.S. servicemen killed in action and 808 wounded. The kill total for that period was well below the 240 carried as a record for this year. That figure was reached in the 7-day period ended last November 25th and included casualties at a big blood drag battle near the Cambodian border. The wounded totals for last week Fahrenheit did not set a record in the week ended February 28th. The Pentagon counted up 829 wounded deduction. The new weekly report brought the overall total roster of the U.S. combat dead in Vietnam to 2,559 since January 1st, 1961, the point in time from which the Pentagon charts from the human cost of the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. The roll of wounded rose to 12,076 names on a weekend last Saturday. Washington, the first national interreligious conference on peace, asked President Johnson Thursday to consider an immediate halt to the bombing in Vietnam. It also urged the administration to consider a ceasefire of indefinite duration in Vietnam beginning on Good Friday, April 8th. In Cape Kennedy, Florida, we have serious trouble here, Kim. The calm voice of the command pilot, Neil Armstrong, we're tumbled overhead. That was a dramatic message flashed to the earth from the disabled Gemini 8 spacecraft Wednesday, signaled at the start of one of the most dangerous episodes of the U.S. space program. The tape-recorded communications were made public Thursday after being withheld 19 hours by space officials for study. The two wearing Gemini astronauts are now homeward bound. Space officials said they could not tell from the conversation exactly what went wrong and what wouldn't know until the onboard tapes from the spacecraft and the astronauts returned for debriefing. All they could tell, they said they were, that spacecraft was gyrating roundly. The voices of Gemini 8 pilots Neil Armstrong and Dave Scott were calm and crisp despite the rapid-fire series of events that clipped the flight short. Washington, the first national interreligious conference on peace, asked President Johnson on Thursday to consider an immediate halt to the bombing in Vietnam. It also urged the administration to consider a ceasefire of infinite duration of Vietnam being good on Good Friday on April 8th. In Washington, the Interstate Commerce Commission on Thursday issued an unprecedented beast-up order to relieve the shortage of freight cars serving the northwest ports of the upper region's grain and lumber shippers. All empty boxcars owned by Great Northern and Northern Pacific Railways were ordered returned immediately from the east, south, and midwest to those lines because of what ICC Chairman John W. Bush called a very serious emergency situation. Representatives of affected economic groups had met with the ICC Wednesday to describe the woes of mounted grain supplies and limited shipping space in the Northwest. Among those in the group were Richard Peddle, Portland Pacific Northwest Grain Exporters Association. In Salem, Governor Mark Hatfield of Oregon Thursday abstained from voting on a resolution supporting President Johnson's Vietnam policies, which was approved unanimously by governors at the presidential briefing last Saturday. Hatfield was one of 12 governors who did not attend the briefing. In a telegram to Maine Governor John H. Reed, chairman of the National Governors Conference, Hatfield Republicans said because it was precluded the opportunity to be briefed, I can hardly be expected to vote on the resolution. Reed, also a Republican, had sent a telegram to Hatfield asking that he support the resolution, which is said in part an unanimous opinion that the governors here assembled that the policies being followed by the president in pursuit of our national objectives in Vietnam and Sun, and that the only rational policies can be followed under the circumstances. Hatfield, a candidate for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate, has criticized President Johnson's Vietnam policy and in the past. The governor, who cannot succeed himself, faces no serious opposition for the Republican nomination. New York President Keith Hudson said Thursday that the New York Stock Exchange has canceled plans to build a $50 million headquarters in Lower Manhattan. He also announced that the Board of Governors had directed that the search for a headquarters outside New York City be intensified. As exchange spokesman said, a team of consultants has checked 10 possible sites in Newark, Jersey City, Hoboken, and Weehawken, New Jersey. In Moscow, lectures for the Supreme Soviet Parliament of the Soviet Union have been scheduled for June 12th. TASS announced Thursday that the team of the President Soviet is expiring. Washington. Wholesale prices jumped sharply in February. The Labor Department said Thursday night that the increase was the biggest for any February in 16 years and lifted a closely watched price inflation barometer 4.1% above that year ago. Staple food prices were the chief cause of the February upsurge, where the Labor Department said that the price increases were reported for a wide range of industrial commodities. The February price rise came to 0.7% and matched the gain that had posted in June 1965, the biggest rise in any month last year. In Palmares Beach, Spain, a U.S. midget submarine island has been found along an ancient sea salt hydrogen bomb that was lost 2 months ago, and an American bomber tanker plane crashed over Spain. Official sources said Thursday night that reported it was spotted with its parachute still attached 2,500 feet under the surface of the Mediterranean Sea. 5 miles offshore, the weapon was reported apparently intact, indicating an lethal leakage in the waters of the holiday resort. There was jubilation from here to Washington at the apparently successful conclusion of an intensive multi-million-dollar search that occupied thousands of men for 2 months and sent them around repercussions around the world. Officials said that it would be take up to the 3 days under the Rear Admiral William Guest Task Force 65 to bring the bomb ashore, put it aboard a search vessel. And now on the weather here from the Portland area. Showers and periods of clear on Friday and Saturday, high both days 55 degrees and low about 42 degrees. Portland temperature standing at 45 degrees with a 76% humidity, and that's committed to KATU Morning News on this Friday, March 18th, 1966. People say have a good day.